Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jessica DeGraff, and I am the Director of Retail Accounts here at Proven Winners. I, along with an amazing team of individuals, have the unique opportunity of working with garden centers like yours to help you to leverage the programs and support tools that the brand offers. And we're so thrilled to have you here today to learn a little bit more about ConnectSpace. But before we get started, I want to introduce a few folks to you. So first and foremost, you'll see on your screen Kate Spurgeon. Kate works for us at Proven Winners, helping with a number of different things, including our newsletters. Kate's going to be running the show here and in the background. So if you have questions, feel free to add those to the chat or the questions section of the webinar. Kate will be compiling those and will pose those at the end of the webinar to all of our panelists. The few other housekeeping items, just so you're aware, we are recording the webinar. So if you want to share this with your team, if there are other folks that you would like to share this with, you're welcome to do so. We'll have that available a little bit later. But without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to John and Souny Kennedy. And I know many of you in this industry know John and Souny. They are the owners of Boomerangel. And their sole aim is really to support small and mid-sized garden centers and help you with large business solutions. So without further ado, John, I'm going to hand it over to you and Souny and let you take it from here.
Oh, thank you so much, Jessica. And thank you, Kate, again, for you navigating this. And thank you to everybody that is joining us here today or after on the recording. We realize you've got a lot going on as spring starts to inch forward closer to us. And to spend time with us today is grateful for sure. We have had the opportunity, Souny and I both, over the last several years to be building a platform that we found was of dramatic interest to many of our clients at that time and now to the industry as a whole, to be able to afford them to have one place that they can go to be able to find everything that they need. That's really the essence of what ConnectSpace is. Ultimately, it started with a client, Rockledge Gardens, about 5 years ago, where when working with them, there were some aches and pains and whatnot that they had. And we started to look at those challenges. And we figured that by what we do and how we approach solutions, we could come up with the platform that would be helpful to them. So a nod to the Rockledge Gardens folks that gave us the faith to be able to build something that would be essential to their success. And from Rockledge Gardens, over the next 4.5, roughly almost 5 years now, we have a large community of independent garden centers that are now leveraging the power of ConnectSpace. And the reason why that's important is that every time we work with one independent garden center, they have unique, different challenges. And our job is to then address those and offer customized solutions to their particular need. And then those customized solutions to that independent garden center becomes the next offering to the next and the next and the next. And now here we are approaching 60 garden centers in North America that leverage the ConnectSpace platform. So every time a new member joins, they bring unique insights and challenges that we want to create great solutions. And of those, we've invited a few of our super users, folks that, one, are friends for sure, just based on our relationship with them, but two, are deeply engaged in the user engagement of ConnectSpace at their independent garden center. We have, as you see on the screen, Rex Anderson from Town and Country Garden Centers in Idaho Falls, Idaho, who will be addressing how he leverages ConnectSpace in relationship to reporting financials. We have Bobby Lewis from Meadows Farms in the greater Maryland, DC, West Virginia marketplace, talking about how 16 garden centers in their enterprise leverage ConnectSpace to be able to communicate effectively across all locations. Sarah Polzine and Erin Nias, both from Down to Earth Garden Center in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, are going to talk about knowledge and education and how they leverage ConnectSpace to be able to inform their staff about how they do what they do with products, vendors, and otherwise. Erin will be discussing about our grower application and how we were able to create a solution specific to a grower retailer. And then Kyle Barite out of Far West in Boise, Idaho, similarly, single garden center at that point, but offers up a landscape division on top of a retail garden center. So we have a wide range on our panels from independent garden centers that are retailers to retailer growers to retailer landscape growers to retailer landscapers, and all points in between, whether it is a small to medium-sized enterprise or a large enterprise representing multiple locations. We felt that this panel was perfect to be able to discuss the value of ConnectSpace. So how it'll go, we'll introduce the panelists, they'll talk about the challenge and the solution, and then we'll introduce Souny Kennedy, who at the end will then discuss how she was able to use that information and insight to provide the solutions for that particular independent garden center. So we'll start with Rex Anderson, as I introduced earlier. Rex is going to discuss how he leverages ConnectSpace for the value of reporting, open book management to some degree, transparency in regards to the financials at town and country garden centers. So the challenge, the solution, and then we'll hear from Souny. So Rex, I turn it over to you.
And thank you. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the fact of being able to share something that I feel so passionate about, and that is sharing financial numbers with our staff, our team. I love, I'm going to steal your example, John, of you're a basketball coach and you're getting ready to go play your basketball game, and you tell them to turn off the scoreboard. And the players are like, well, how are we supposed to know what the score is? How much time do we have left? Are we in foul trouble? Do I need to step back and take a three-pointer or wait for the easy layup? And the coach saying, well, we'll talk about that afterwards in the locker room. Just go out there and do your best. What a disservice that coach is doing for his team. That's sad. So, but it's the same way with our team that's working out in the garden center. A few facts. The majority of human beings want to work for a winning garden center, okay? Most of these people are willing to go the extra mile, do something above and beyond to help that winning company. Fact, most employees don't know a thing about finances other than they get paid on the 5th and the 20th, and this is how I get Venmo from mom and dad. So that's what we're dealing with. Most people don't know how much a garden center should make in order to be profitable. And last fact, most employees think that the owners are getting rich. So the goal, sharing financial numbers with my staff. The challenge is, how do I do this in such a way that they will understand it? Even the part-time high school kid will understand it. Let's take a look at our ConnectSpace, which we refer to as the zone, where we actually have created our team scoreboard. There's 7 different buttons you can push on that scoreboard. In the top left-hand that I've circled in red is overall sales score. I simply put that to my staff as that is the money in the cash register. Over on the top right is score by customer. This is a look at each individual customer and what score we're getting by them. Down at the bottom, circled in green, is score by perception. But the most important one, and the one I want to make sure I get to, is that one right in the middle. It's called the dollar dashboard. So let's take a quick look at these other ones. First of all, let's go to that next screenshot, which is the overall sales, the money in the register. First of all, yes, you have to make a budget all 52 weeks in order to make this work. But one of the buttons shows us a daily for the whole week. The other button shows us how we're doing for the year. Now, the great thing about ConnectSpace is you don't actually have to be to work. And one of the most gratifying things that I get is I have staff members who have the day off and they're checking into our ConnectSpace to see what our score is, because weather wasn't very good yesterday. So I hope they make it up today. That is a cool feeling. Let's go to the next part. That's the individual customer. First of all, transaction count. We're looking like we're a little bit behind for our goal for the year, but that's okay. This is how many people are coming into our store, buying something. How many times are they returning? 2 or 3 times? Are they telling their friends? That's how that score is affected. Average sale is, are you making sure that the customer is getting everything they need in order to be successful? And buyers, did you happen to buy something that customer can't live without and they're going to put it in their cart. That affects the average sale. Let's go down to the next one, which is the perceived value, which actually has nothing to do with finances whatsoever, but rather feedback from first of all, our employees with the top part, the shout out, where any employee can give a shout out to another employee that they saw them doing a good job. They want to recognize them and thanks for helping me out. Folks, I got to tell you that coming from a fellow employee, a shout out or an attaboy is worth 3 times what it is for a manager. The bottom part is our customers' perception of us, and that's simply our Google reviews. Okay, let's go ahead to the money shot right there. So, how do I show my customer or my team how we're doing financially? Many wise men have told me it's not about the money that you make, it's about the money you keep. And thanks to a couple of gentlemen, Steve Bailey, Kim Quibido, they taught me this trick on how to show people your finances. And that's to take a single dollar bill. Represents $1 bill that's sitting in your cash register right now. How is that split up as far as what expenses, how that dollar is going to pay for each of the expense? Now, this is our goal here at Town and Country Gardens. Out of that dollar, 44 cents is used to pay for the cost of that item and the shipping to get it on the shelf. That's 44 cents. The second biggest money eater is wage and wage benefits, which we look for 28 cents out of that dollar to help pay for the employees. Now, all the other extra expenses of the utilities, the fuel, the gas, everything else, the operating expense, it takes about 18 cents in order for us to run. But the most important part of that dollar bill is on that right-hand side where it says 10 cents. That is the money we get to keep. Now, I've been managing garden centers since 1996, a long time. I've only been in the owner's chair for 3 years now, and I never thought to ask the previous owner, what do you do with that 10 cents? This year I was finally able to tell my staff exactly what I did with that 10 cents. So that 10 cents, 3 cents covers taxes. 4 cents covers the interest on my loan I had to take to buy the garden center. So that's 7 cents worth of expense. That leaves us 3 cents. Those 3 cents is freaking awesome because that's what we get to put back in the business. That's what this year bought automatic sliding doors. It's what bought new shopping carts, benches for the greenhouse, and most of all, we got air conditioning in our garden center for the first time. So when you get an employee that is aware that every cent counts, that's a winning team. That's a winning coach. And folks, that's a winning company when you get to that point. That's back to you guys.
Wonderful, Rex. And again, from the financial transparency, some folks are uncomfortable being able to share the numbers, and I get that. But back to Rex's point, we can't fix what we don't know. So if we're expecting employees to lean in, there should be a level of comfort in which we're able to share the financials to allow them to understand why what they do matters and that every cent and every penny counts. So wonderful team you have out there. Please give them our best. And I'll turn it over to Souny to talk a little bit about maybe how she navigated this gauges and dials and reportings to be able to help Rex communicate with his team the financial success of the business.
Sure. So, because working with Rex, wanting to share transparency in his numbers, we felt that dials and dashboards are really essential for his ConnectSpace. So in working with Rex, as you can see in some of his screenshots, we've got dials and gauges. And again, all of this is very digestible when it comes to employees being able to retrieve those numbers versus looking at Excel spreadsheets or looking very complex programming. We find that by building these very unique dashboards within ConnectSpace that responds automatically so that they're not really having to pull numbers from their POS systems or anything like that, being able to see that right within ConnectSpace really gives them, again, a good score of that basketball game that you're talking about. So.
Yep. Fascinating. So Rex, from a single garden center in Idaho Falls, we want to introduce you to Bobby. Bobby Lewis is with Meadows Farms. Meadows Farms carries 16 different garden centers. And so their unique challenge, different than others, was how do we communicate effectively to each of our different locations in an appropriate way? So Bobby, I'll turn it over to you to explain how you leverage ConnectSpace at Meadows Farms.
Thank you, John. For us, we were pretty strong at communicating to the store manager. It was after there that it dropped off. And I got a lot of education on this when my daughter became a cashier at one of our locations that's about an hour and a half south of here. And she was always asking me stuff that I knew we were putting out there, but it wasn't going from that store manager to down to that next levels of employees. And, you can imagine with 16 stores and 2 major divisions, there's a lot of communications that takes place. And it was so many emails, email after email after email. So although we were very strong, it took a lot of email. You have several vice presidents, buyers, everybody's sending out these emails, and it's just a flood. And we like our managers to be out in the store. We don't want them sitting at their desk reading emails all the time. So this was a great solution for us as far as not only communicating easier to our locations, but to that next level down. It provided a way. We put it on every single computer in the company, and that included all our registers. So hundreds of computers. And I will say, I'm talking about a multi-store location, and I think that does make it, there's a certain extra maybe challenge to that multiple locations. But even if you're a single location, I can remember when I managed a store, and we always had my uncle really stressed having great morning meetings where 15 minutes, you're telling what's going on that day, and everything. All the employees know everything that's on sale, what trucks are coming in, all that information. And I always was very proud of my morning meetings, and they were great. Well, then that 1 o'clock shift would come in. Well, it's the middle of the day, and I was unloading those trucks, and I was helping customers, and those people, they may have gotten missed. And then the 4 o'clock shift came in, and as much as I tried to work 7 days a week, I had to take some days off. So you even in a single store location, I think the challenge to get the word out to everybody is just universal. So we put it on every store. We made it very available for people on their cell phones. Didn't require it, but certainly encouraged. And we didn't have to encourage much because people really, once they started using it, they enjoyed having it and got everything they need. And it got that to all our employees, not just the store managers, but to all the employees. And if you go to the next slide, this is kind of what ours look like. You can see truck schedule, weekly questions. Those are, often asked questions by the customers. We always put our 5-star promise. Thank you, John. That helped us a lot with that. And things like that. Our great games of business, we put the results on so people can keep track. Just all that stuff you want to get out there, you can put in this one place. And once people get used to going to it, I specialize more in marketing than any other aspect of the company. And I can put what's on sale this week, what we call our cheat sheet, so they know what the customers are going to come in looking for. If you go to the next slide, it shows kind of what we have on each tab. And this is the information people want to know. And I will thank Sarah, who's coming up. I told him, Sarah, I said I would do this as long as I could talk before you because you're such a good speaker. I didn't want to go after you because I'd sound pretty silly. But Sarah, we actually, she helped us quite a bit just by looking at hers. Because hers is fantastic, especially with some of the things she's going to be talking about. So I really appreciate her helping us out. But just having all this stuff in one place, whether it's forms, we were constantly getting form requests. We were constantly getting, this Sally, who I know you guys don't know Sally, but she's our office manager. And if somebody needs supplies of any kind, there's a form that goes to Sally. Well, now we have it right here. You click on it, they fill it out. It comes right, it gets emailed, directly into Sally. She fulfills that that request. So it just streamlines a lot of stuff like that and makes it available to where everybody can use it. And as good attention as our store, and we have some great store managers, they work their butts off and they do a great job, but this just allows them to do their job better without even really thinking about it. So we've gradually switched off so many emails, and I still get a ton, but I don't get nearly as much as I used to. Our employees seem to have adapted very well to getting the information off here. And once again, I'll use my daughter because she used to always ask me all these questions, and now not so much. She loves it. She feels like she's much more informed. So I know it's working just from a personal point of view, just from my daughter, who's one of those employees down on the front lines. And the support from Souny and is just fantastic. She's done a great job with a lot of the design. I'm sure John wants to take all the credit, but she's done a good job. I know he doesn't. She's done a great job with it and is always available anytime we've ever needed any help. So I certainly appreciate both you guys as well.
As do we to you. Any comments if you want to?
And the one thing I want to compliment the farmer says with Meadows Farms is there's just so much communication. What we find is because there's so much, being able to lay things out within ConnectSpace is also going to be key so that employees can find the information that they need where they should expect it to be. So keeping a really good navigation and organization within ConnectSpace is something that I'm always very supportive of as your business grows and new things are added to your business. We always discuss where do we want to place it? Where does it make sense so that the employees don't get lost in that navigation? So that's one thing.
As you're noticing, there's also customization, right? You're going to see this as you go along, that each garden center's ConnectSpace, whatever they choose to call it, Farmer Says, the zone, are all different, unique, branded, and appropriate. This isn't an off-the-shelf enterprise model. This is extremely customized to your colors, your brand, and even more importantly, to your culture, And with that in mind, we'll move on to Aaron. Aaron Nias was invited here to speak about the uniqueness of Down to Earth, because they are an enterprise that has a men's shop, a women's shop, a boutique, a cafe, a garden center, a growing facility. So the scale and scope of Down to Earth in Eau Claire, Wisconsin was another unique challenge. And so learning through what Souny and her team are capable of building, we began to go to work on creating customized solutions and applications specific to Down to Earth. So Aaron, I welcome you to be able to share with the audience how the challenge of your growing facility was managed and what were the solutions that were devised for you at Down to Earth through the great work of Souny and her team to be able to streamline and improve your business.
Yeah, thank you so much for that very kind introduction. So our challenge being a grower retailer is that we grow about, I would say 80 to 85% of our annuals and perennials that we sell at our Eau Claire location. And those are spread out between two different locations, our growing farm in Cadott, and then we do produce some in our Eau Claire retail location as well. So we needed something that was going to make tracking and kind of streamlining some of our ordering. And so Souny was able to come up with a grower tracker for us. This first slide here is showing our planting and dumping dashboard. This gives us our practical work area. So all of these charts are easily navigated just by clicking on them, and that opens up different screens within the grower tracker. So you can quickly look at, what did we plant versus what did we dump, or, our ratings is telling us how our plug quality is coming in. So we have, we rate everything from 0 to 5. And that tells us, if we are using vendors that have great plug quality, or if maybe we need to take another look at who we're using. Our vendor chart just tells us who we're using and how many plugs we're actually getting from them. The location summary tells us a little bit about what's being grown where. Like I said, we have 2 locations that we're growing at. And then a new thing that we are just starting this year actually is our dump reason chart. So we came up with just a couple of our common reasons for maybe having to dump something. And so we'll be implementing that this coming season in 2025. So we can quickly look and see, maybe if we need some retraining or we need to look at some of our processes and procedures. This will be a nice, quick way to do that. My next chart is part of the grower tracker. We at Down to Earth create some of our own combinations. And so we needed a really easy way to actually count those plugs that are within the combinations so that they are easily ordered. We were finding that we were spending a ton of time going through Excel spreadsheets and trying to make sure that we weren't missing any trays for every week that we were planting our combination hanging baskets. So this dashboard actually adds them up, and I can sort it by week so that I can make sure that the right number of plugs get ordered for the correct number of baskets that we're planting in that given week. Our location summary, which is our next slide here. This one is like our broadest view. So it looks at all of our data from 23, 24, and then we're starting in 25 now. It looks at everything from the dumps to being able to search by plant. And as you can see here, I've got the bubblegum Supertunia up. And this tells you from each year how many we planted, what week it was planted, who did the planting, what our SKUs were. It tracks our cost of goods. It gives us the numbers on the side there of like how many we planted in 23 and 24 as a total. So this is our really, really broad view. But it really gives us a great tool when we're doing ordering, because we can look back without having to search through piles of paper or order forms or shipping receipts to see what we actually ordered and what might have happened to that order. Our next slide shows another new feature that Souny graciously helped us develop this year. As we were doing our ordering this year, we found that while our location summary helped us figure out what we had planted last year, we needed something that we could look at real time to see what we were ordering this year. So the chart on the left here, order by vendor, just shows us the retail value of the product that we're ordering from any given vendor. The calendar shows us what orders we're expecting that week. It's a visual reminder of how many orders we have coming in. And you can click those and it'll take you to the order as well. And then the week number order on the right gives us a different view, basically. So that orders it out by week, and it gives every order that's coming in, regardless of the vendor, in that view. And all of those are clickable. It pulls each item up so we can look at all the details, or we can scroll over and just look at it line item by line item. So super intuitive to use. One thing that we did with that last slide, actually, sorry, Kate, we're using this as a way to put our orders in when we're slower. So in January, when maybe we don't have as many things going on in the production area, our people can go through and actually put these orders in. And then when they are busier and in the midst of planting and production, those very few items that need to be edited are able to be done quickly and not have to put a whole order in with all of the details that we're asking for. So it's just a couple of quick clicks in each item, and it's moved from order to planting. So that's a lot easier than what we were doing. If you want to go to the last one, Kate. All right. This last one is just showing our one view. This is basically the highest level of aggregation of all of our growing data. This is being used mostly by our managers and owners to really track and trace what we are doing on like the highest level. So it's not really a place that we are spending our day-to-day time, but it is definitely something that we're watching as an overview. And it's easy to see year to year how we are comparing against ourselves as well. So overall, the grower tracker has definitely made a difference in our ordering and tracking processes. I feel that they're much faster and getting much more accurate the more we develop this particular application. It also gives us real-time data that we can pivot in season if we need to. If we see a problem developing, we can get out ahead of it. And it gives us year-to-year comparisons so we can improve our product mix and also keep that dump rate down low where we're constantly trying to improve, as I'm sure everybody is. So.
Anything you want to add to Aaron? Thank you so much. Amazing.
I think, Aaron, you explained it all. I will just add that, in addition to what you've illustrated, the grower tracker certainly tracks cost of goods as well, tracking every line item. So as Aaron expands her growing facility and adds more plants and varieties, our application will absolutely support all the new additions as well. So I'm tracking that cost of goods just as much as well in regards to the retail. It's just as important.
The amazing thing with this power team of these two women here on this call right now is that Aaron dreams, hey, is it possible if? And then, as you know now, right, there's a batting average that you find each time. Although sometimes it takes a while, Souny and her team are able to figure out a solution that works for you. Correct, Aaron?
Most definitely. It's awesome. I send a couple quick emails and we imagine together and it somehow pops up on my screen and just makes my life a lot easier. So we definitely appreciate that.
Any way to quantify time savings? Anything off the top of your head, how much maybe time over hours that you would have been doing something that you're now no longer doing because of the solutions that have been customized and created for you?
So for grower tracker specifically, I would say I've probably cut a full day of just doing the math by hand. Trying to make sure that we have enough of certain products and not too many of others. And also looking at it year over year, we used to have to sort through, piles of paper or go through our Excel files. And this is just a couple of clicks and makes everything sortable. And I can tell, whoever needs to know, yeah, we produced 800 bubblegum petunias last year. We had 100 too many, so let's knock that down a little bit. Or, we've sold out way too fast. And so let's make sure we've got a few more coming in at these specific weeks. So it really helps not have to look through huge mountains of paper, constantly.
So 1 day a week, you've trimmed your job by roughly 1 day a week.
I think 1 day, like in the ordering process. So like a whole, my work day is a whole work day of like not having to look through that. Weekly, I would say it's just giving me the option to check. Before I wasn't doing that. We were looking at it at the end because it was just overwhelming in the crazy season to have to even think about doing any of that. So this is a quick, easy check. It takes 10 minutes and I know where we're at and what we're doing.
Beautiful. And that data is helpful to making decisions, real time, pivoting instead of waiting until something happened to change after. You're able to change in the middle of the game and make adjustments as necessary. So wonderful, Aaron. And I'm in awe of all of what you are doing out there. And we're grateful for the chance that you've given us to help you guys out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Kyle had a unique challenge as well. And this is another panelist. Kyle Wright is out of Far West in Boise, Idaho. And one of the block and tackle issues of most independent garden centers is the challenge of scheduling. How do I get access to have my employees know at any given time where they are, how much time, and not only how much time, but what does that time equate to in a budget and a dollar amount? And then there was a secondary piece, because as you see here, the mix that they have at Far West is it's a 50-50 retail landscape mix. So some of you are on the call or looking at that going, that's interesting to us as well, because we do landscaping just as much. So we've invited Kyle to be able to give feedback not only on the scheduling piece from a retail standpoint, but how some of the customized applications can be of assistance in relationship to the landscape part as well. Thank you again, Kyle, for joining us, and look forward to hearing from you.
Hey, thanks, John. First of all, Souny, I'm seeing some stuff on here. You and I are going to have to talk because there's things that I need that I didn't know I needed until right now. So this is great for me too. Thank you. So I was actually looking for some kind of scheduling software, some kind of a solution when I ran into John and Souny and what is ConnectSpace. I didn't want to spend the money on the scheduling programs that are paying per user. I just really needed something simple to complement what we're already using here. And so what they offered was really a perfect solution, especially when you consider everything else that you guys are seeing on this call. I mean, it really is all in one place, making everything really easy for us. So again, the main challenge I had was functional scheduling. I was using an Excel sheet, copying that into an email and sending that to the staff, printing it out for everybody in the office that had a desk, etc. So distribution was a real pain. Viewing for the staff was a pain because they had to dig back through emails to find that schedule. It wasn't at their fingertips like it is now. You're seeing a shot of my schedule here, and I'll get into some of that here in a minute, but you know, the overall use of building it in just a regular Excel spreadsheet without all the hidden things that you're not seeing here to track the data that I actually wanted to track was also, you know, painful for me, having to go and spend a lot of time making sure I got the right pieces in the right spots. We got a lot of part-time people here. A lot of people are cross-trained at the garden center here to do a lot of different things. And so just making sure that I even had the amount of cashiers that I wanted on a specific day took me extra time to go back and double check and make sure I wasn't making a mistake. The other part of that is managing vacation requests, and we'll get to that shot later down here as well. But you know, I had a giant desk calendar next to my desk that people would write in their requests for, which was functional. But when I'm trying to write a schedule on the road or something like that, it made it pretty much impossible for me to not have, you know, I couldn't see any of that. And people had a tendency to write dates down in the future and not say anything to me about it. And so I'm getting surprised sometimes by a request that's on a week that just we can't handle as a business. And so that was really helpful. So again, looking at the screen here, you know, Souny built this scheduling app for us. Everybody has instant access to it through our platform. It lives right on the home screen. It's a really nice clickable link that says schedule. Again, it has hidden frames in here that's tracking data that I actually want to track. How many people are in key positions that I need, how many hours are being used in the week. Souny and I are actually working on right now to do some labor to sales data that we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some of that to just get even better and manage one of the things that you can manage as far as cost is concerned. It communicates to the staff exactly where I need them for that day. Again, we have a lot of people that are cross-trained to do sales or cashiering or whatever, and we move people around quite a bit. So without me having to go above and beyond to communicate that to somebody on every morning, they just know where they're expected to be and the hours that they're expected to be there. And then real simple stuff as far as, you know, who's opening, who's closing, all those things. And a lot of that stuff, again, is hidden in this schedule. Can you go to the next slide for me, Kate? So here's the bottom half of that, what you guys were just looking at. And you can see the bottom piece there is something that's actually hidden that only usually I can see. And again, it's showing how many cashiers do I got? How many people are in sales? Do I actually have somebody opening the store? Somebody answering the phones? That kind of a thing. And that's all expressed up above with the little icons that are in color. Again, we want to track deeper on this and get into some of the actual like labor to sales stuff and be able to find out what we're actually doing so that I can keep better track of what's going on there. Next slide, please. Here is the vacation request spreadsheet, and a lot of the stuff that Souny's building for apps is fed through spreadsheets. And so this is where people's requests are actually going into. Again, I can see this. It sends me an email when somebody puts a request in, so I can go in right away and find out what's going on and who needs what. That way I can have timely conversations about it with everybody. There's a couple of key things here. It has the date that they're asking for that time off, which is kind of nice. And then whether they want to use PTO or not, so that I can keep track of some of that stuff for them. When it goes through this process, next slide, please, Kate. It actually pushes it through to a calendar view, which is what the staff is used to seeing. This is, I have to apologize, I had archived all the vacation requests prior, so I had to use one of the most recent ones, which is January, and there's not really anybody here to take vacation. So you can see that I had requested some vacation off there early in the month, and that's really nice for people to be able to see, because if there was somebody else that does similar duties to myself and I've already gotten vacation approved, they know that the chances of them having those days off also is very slim. And so again, in season, there's a lot of names on these calendars, and it's good for everybody to be able to see, to kind of pop in there and get a quick snapshot. Everything that this has been able to do for me is save me a ton of time, because it gives me that snapshot of who's doing what, who's asking for what, where is everybody supposed to be, without me having to go back and actually physically count how many people I have in sales on a specific day, just to make sure that we've got the coverage that we want. So as far as scheduling is concerned, it's working out really well, and Souny's so gracious to help me come up with new things all the time, which is great, to try and track more and more and get into what we want to talk about. So moving on from scheduling real quick, I want to go to the next slide here. My background is actually in the landscape industry. That's what I did for a long time before moving into retail. So we got our landscape team on board here with ConnectSpace, and this is a snapshot of stuff that they were having trouble with tracking. Anybody that does any landscaping out there knows that there's a handful of things that are a real pain to track, and that's what this report is actually named after. It is the DLPP report, and I'll wait until the end to tell everybody what that stands for. I'm sure some of you will figure it out. But you can see a snapshot here of a lot of things, and it's got a filter so that you can dig down through into what exactly you want to see. You can do it by designer or customer or whatever, and it's working out really well. You can see that our total deal price is what we've sold for this year. The thing that we're really tracking against this is the deposits collected, which that's actually a little bit low. They know that. You know, I sit in on those meetings weekly, and they know that they're trying to get that up closer to 30%. Again, there's a nice little chart here in the middle that kind of gives you that snapshot, because looking at spreadsheets is not for everybody. Like it's been mentioned before, it takes time. So when you can get something into a chart, it's just really quick at a glance. I don't even work on that side of the company for the most part, and I can hop onto their page and see exactly what's going on. Next slide, please. The middle section here that's in white and yellow, you can actually scroll down there, and I can't now, but and see the deposits collected on the far right side, the percentage. And so you'll see those range from 0 up to 56. And so the ones that are in that 0 to 10 range are the ones that they're heavily focused on. Again, this is just helping them be able to focus in quickly and see what's going on and go, hey, why don't we have those deposits collected? We got to get at least 10% to get them on the calendar, that sort of thing. At the bottom there, you'll see, and a lot of you guys, like I mentioned, know that the dig line and the porta potty are two of the most annoying things to track when you guys are doing projects out there. I'm sure some of you have had customers call and wonder when you're going to take that really pretty blue thing in front of their house and get it out of there since your project's already finished. So again, it's just everything we can do to simplify tracking all the things that we want to see, get it into one spot, and just make it as easy as we possibly can. So.
Is that what the PP stands for? Porta potty?
Yeah, what is
Yep.
What's DLPP?
I don't
So
even know.
DLPP means?
Big line porta potty.
Got it. There we go. There we go.
I never knew
Simple
what
report.
Yep. So any thoughts in addition to Kyle's?
Well, I did want to touch, it seems, I would say a lot of our clients are still leveraging Excel, Google Sheets for their schedules. So we just come in and really help complement what you're already doing. So for those that are on the call, for those that are still using it, using an Excel and Google Sheet, we can certainly build in a lot of hidden columns to help you track and help you budget and forecast your schedule so much more, while at the same time letting that same schedule be what the team sees, so you don't have multiple versions. And ConnectSpace is a direct mirror of that single document. Again, that single source document is really the key here. And then to touch on the landscape, working with the department there, I heard all the challenges, and again, having a filtering dashboard so that you have data at your fingertips to attend that monthly Monday meeting is essential, so that you can then create what needs to happen for that week. And I thought that it's very important to have this, the data right at your fingertips.
Yeah,
So.
a huge part of being able to report is to be able to have somebody at a meeting ask, where are we on this? And within about 5 seconds, they're able to search the dashboard. It automatically reports back. We're at 41%. Our goal was 30, so we're above our goal for the percentage of deposits that are currently on board. And that immediacy saves an immense amount of time. Productive meetings, searching for things, not only from the office standpoint, as Kyle had made mention and others as well, but the employees looking for things. Hundreds and hundreds of hours are saved each year by companies that are leveraging the ConnectSpace platform in looking for things, not only from the employee side, but also from the side of the office inside. So Kyle, thank you so much. Wonderful to see you as always.
Absolutely.
Lastly, Sarah Polzine from Down to Earth. The final piece as we come towards the top of the hour is education and knowledge. To me, I refer to knowledge now as the new currency. How is it that we're able to invest in our employees, not only financially, but also in a wisdom standpoint? So knowing that that's a huge part of the culture of Down to Earth, we've invited Sarah to be able to explain more about education, knowledge, and the value that ConnectSpace brings to Down to Earth. So thank you again, Sarah, for volunteering to be part of this.
Absolutely. I am excited to be here. And like Kyle said, I'm taking notes on things that we need to connect with Souny on later in the next coming weeks. Learning so much in this collective, cohesive team building environment. It's incredible. Jumping into one of our challenges at Down to Earth, one of our opportunities, if you will, we found out from feedback in an assessment and survey of our team members that education was a bit lackluster in our company, from it not being consistent from department to department and division to division. So we do landscaping, retail, we have a cafe, a women's clothing boutique, a men's apparel store, all the different shops that you can imagine, garden shop, we've got annuals, tropicals, trees and shrubs and evergreens, pottery and perennials. Everybody felt like, hey, when we cross-train, that department does it one way, the other department does it a different way. Which way is the right way? There's a lot of miscommunication and potential confusion. So what the ConnectSpace platform has done for us with regard to education is really allowed us to, the moon is the limit. We can develop and create, and we have, in partnership with the ConnectSpace team, several different tools or resources that better educate our team members and kind of feed their hunger for knowledge and growth, not just in information, but also in leadership, which has been a surprising, just incredible outcome out of all of this. So I'm excited to dive in, and we'll start with our first slide, Kate, and we'll jump in and take a look at the very, very first key in creating our educational world at Down to Earth. So from our homepage, we created, and this is John and Souny, DTE University. It is a portal or a hub, home base, if you will, for all of the educational tools that we have at our disposal. A lot of them we created from the ground up. So we're going to explore a few of those that we've partnered with the ConnectSpace team to build out for our team members. The first one that we're going to take a look at on our next slide is tailored vendor training. So this first aspect of education allowed us to partner with our vendors, not reinvent the wheel, but use resources already at our disposal plugged into this platform. So you can see here on our vendor homepage, we have a bunch of different vendor options. We have highlighted proven winners. And our garden center, for example, does the certification every year. So what we were able to do, and this is really cool, we were able to not just list out, here are the steps to certification. We were able to put the names of every individual and their code up on this particular page. And as they were completed, we just struck through their name. And we did not have to send out reminders to this department or these team members, hey, get it done so we can have our pizza party and get our shirts. They were holding each other accountable, like your name's not crossed off yet, and you better get that done by the end of the week. We don't want to miss out just because you don't have your certification done. But they were also holding themselves accountable. They were able to go on, access this page, and see how many people have theirs done. And if, oh my goodness, there's, only 10 left or 5 left, I better get mine done. We did not have to give any reminders. It was very refreshing to be able to use this platform as a self-motivating tool. So if we select the next slide, we also partner with ISPOMA in really using Biotone as part of our extended warranty program. And we use some of their other products as well. And we wanted to be able to feature on this customized option, this page, what is most important to us at our garden center. The message we're giving to our customers, we also want to be top of mind as we're training our staff. So here we have our biotone listed up there, how to plant a tree, our own little video. And then down below that, we were actually able to customize and select which videos for which products from the Espoma line that we wanted our team members to be very familiar with. Another area that we really built as an educational resource, if we jump to the next slide, was a customized plant and product library. Think of it as Wikipedia for down to earth in the Midwest, Zone 4 only, not the entire nation. It's a database. So we used Google Sheets, and on the back end in partnership with the ConnectSpace team, we're able to put in every annual that we grow and sell, every perennial, herb, small fruit, veg, even PhD, and everything in between. Had its own section, as you can see in the image to my right of the screen. We have selected here annuals, and we're taking a look at just that particular annual. We're able to research all of the information right there as we click on that particular item, and use this as an educational resource for our new team members, existing team members. We do daily huddles, so implementing product education is an expectation in those huddles. Here is a perfect resource. They don't have to go anywhere else. They can jump right on our ConnectSpace platform and find what they need in order to be well informed on the products that we actually grow and sell. And then next, an additional tool in the toolbox, if you will, that we dove into head first and then some was department training. So we have 12 different departments, as you can see, a whole bunch listed there with those cute little book icons. And every department, we wanted to make sure there was some level of cohesiveness and a framework. So we had that consistency from area to area in our training methods, but tropicals is super different in procedures and product and educational information than tree, shrubs, and evergreens. So we needed them to be able to be a little bit more fluid and individual while remaining cohesive with the company goals. So if you take a look here at where the arrow is, as we kind of clicked into the tree, shrubs, and evergreen training page, you can see this customer experience. We actually have that particular section in every single department training page, even landscaping. The customer experience is really important to who we are. And this particular platform allowed us to be able to kind of repeat that, right? If we need to see, our customers need to see something 7 times before they decide to purchase, how many more times do our team members need to see in order for it to become part of who we are collectively as one unit? So we are able to feature little graphics on here, videos. Video-based training is something that is kind of overtaking how we train. We have a lot of hands-on learners that are part of our team, and as hands-on learners, video does much better than just a document for us. We train everything from walkie-talkie etiquette to how to roll a hose, you name it, everything, anything in between, right? Some of the more technical stuff, but also some of the what we would maybe think is common sense or common knowledge to us in the green industry isn't so common to a high school student or a college student who this is their first job. We need to teach everything from terminology to, making sure that that hose isn't going to trip anybody or get kinked and damaged, so on and so forth. So if we jump to the next slide, I'm actually going to show you 2 department pages side by side, so you can see what I mean and have a better comprehension for how they look cohesive, right? They look branded, they look like a unit, they belong together, but there's individual, meaning there's area for unique information to be given to that particular department. You can see we have horticultural terminology on both pages. Their managers and supervisors are being introduced to them. We've got water training. We've got, on the other side, we've got cashier training, steps 1 through 6 with all the videos that are corresponding listed below. So wonderful information that's similar from department to department, but also unique and individualized depending on what is expected in that particular area. And if we jump back to another option here, so all of this is accessible from our main home base at DTU University Hub. This particular item that we just implemented probably 3-4 months ago is called Knowledge College, another opportunity that Souny came to us with, like, hey, you guys should consider this. So we've kind of created a bit of an educational beast with our team members, and they're always asking for something more. And this is where that leadership piece that we're starting to see fruit of has been really kind of something we didn't expect. So we had a handful of feedback from our last employee engagement survey saying, hey, we want to learn more. We want more cross training. We want more leadership development. Do you have books that you would recommend? We're like, oh boy, what have we done? So we created Knowledge College, where our team members can lead a huddle and talk about product education. They can read a leadership book and submit a report to their supervisor. They could talk about what they learned from that book in their huddle. They could attend a conference or a seminar or a webinar on their own time and their own dime, right? And then submit a report. They fill out this form once they've checked things off with their supervisor, and they get credit or points personalized to them that can be cashed in for rewards. So this is a fantastic building your bench program. It's focused on not just what are you going to learn more, and this is not stuff that's already expected of them in their duty and their role. This is above and beyond. So it's for those individuals who are hungry, want to earn points, do a little something extra. They can cash it in from everything from a 5-and-2 chocolate truffle to a $250 gift certificate to our business, or a gas card, a hoodie, lunch on us from the cafe. It's been a really neat thing that is starting to really take off and gain traction. In partnership with Knowledge College, Kate, if we can move to the next slide, is the Knowledge Calendar. So this is incredible and something that everybody who uses ConnectSpace can have access to. This is called the Knowledge Calendar. So what the ConnectSpace team has done is they have started putting webinars, seminars, events that are occurring that are relevant to the Independent Garden Center, putting them on there so you can look months in advance. Your team members can take a look and say, oh, I actually want to, be a part of that webinar, so I can use that for Knowledge College credit. And they can look at that and say, hey, Supervisor Aaron, could I have permission to, be able to attend this webinar? And, if we're able to make it happen, we most certainly will. Or if it's on their off day and they want to do it and then submit for credit, they can do that as well. So we have just taken the knowledge piece and the education piece kind of to the next level, even beyond what we thought was possible. And a lot of this that we've developed is kind of based off of feedback from our team and from other ConnectSpace users that Souny has brought to the table to be like, hey, this other place is doing this. I really think you could benefit. Like, this would be helpful to help solve problems or challenges or, opportunities that knock at the door. So for us, everything about ConnectSpace has completely transformed our culture. From the education side, every garden center, every time we train, every spring, it gets busy. We get asked the same question a bazillion times. The biggest kind of nod or win for us this last year was come mid-June, we're all looking at each other and we're like, nobody asked us this question or that question. I didn't answer this question. We answer that like literally 1,000 times every spring. What happened? What did we do wrong? And we're like, oh, wait, we have tools. We actually can communicate the answers to those questions before somebody even asks, without us even having to address it, which was one of our big wins and very satisfactory for our team, our leadership team. They're not having to repeat themselves over and over. But this also provides a natural opportunity for cross-training, for continued development, for building our bench, and partnering that with everything else that you've seen here today, from open book management and knowing your numbers, to communicating between multiple locations, to using it for landscaping or for growing. Literally, there's endless possibilities, and it's moldable and shapeable to what you need customized solutions just for your garden center. And you don't have to do everything and all the bells and whistles. You can tailor it to what works for you, but you can build all of these unique things and really create a space that really solves and checks the boxes and advances your goals and your, agenda as a garden center owner or manager or supervisor, whatever it may be. Our biggest win is our team is more educated. We're communicating well. We're all on the same page, which is amazing. They're all bought in. And the ownership mindset and mentality from now to 2 years ago is night and day difference. I don't even think someone who worked for us 2 years ago would recognize the culture in the company. So that's the biggest win that I can give and compliment that I can give to the ConnectSpace team, Proven Winners, and John and Souny and what they've contributed to our world at Down to Earth.
Wow. And Mrs. Kennedy, any final thoughts about how do you improve upon that? I don't know. Any contract?
I just want to emphasize what Sarah said. It's, when you look at training is comprised of many different types of assets, video, PDFs, documents, links, the ability to also, for those that may have external links to other softwares and programs, the key to also bringing that into your ConnectSpace is also an option, right? So linking to those outside external resources is also an opportunity. It's not one or the other. It's always about bringing everything into one single place so that, again, as those new employees coming into that new season, you're not telling them to go to this link to that link. All you have to say is go to our ConnectSpace and you'll find everything there. So,
yep, the launch pad for things that you currently have in one place, but also an ability to find everything that they need as well. We're right at the top of the hour, and I just wanted to thank each of the panelists that joined us. Kate, I know that there probably may be some questions that might have come about as we were going through this in-depth dive of what ConnectSpace can offer in a unique, customized, individual, independent garden center space. Everybody watching this realizes, wow, there's a lot of things for me, but some others might think, nope, there's other things that might be useful to us as well. So thank you again to the panelists. Kate, are there any questions that might have populated we could spend a moment or two answering based on your looking at them? Is there anything that jumped out as a theme?
Yeah, so we do have a couple of questions. First question here is about data input. How is data kind of populated into the ConnectSpace system? Is it, connected to internal systems? Is it something they have to do themselves? How does that work?
Sure. The big key thing is, and when we look at data, is that data is stored on your drive. And that's really an important key thing to note here, is that data is not uploaded into any other environment. Technically, we actually come into your world. So as you know, we log into your drive, and that's stored on your Google Workspace account. And that data sits right in, whether it's a Google Sheet, whether it's another source of, programming, we actually connect to that. And so a lot of what you're seeing in terms of data is input both by the IGC owners and or content that we then extract into our dashboard. So we invite ourselves, you're inviting us into your drive with that data being stored there.
Yep. I mean, you might have seen in Rex's financials, Rex is grabbing a couple cells from what he has and bringing that over there, and then just pushing publish, and that publishes out to the dials and the graphics that happen. There are no direct interconnections between, maybe a point of sale system or otherwise. We educate everybody to be able to figure out what is it that you're looking for? Where do we find it? How do you then place it into ConnectSpace to be able to report it the way that you want? Fairly easy, 1 or 2 steps at the most. That's how we migrate the data from one place to another. So Rex, everybody actually does an exceptionally good job at navigating that. Great question. Maybe 1 or 2 more. I know we're tight on time.
Yep. So question I keep getting from folks, are you going to get a copy of the Zoom to share with your team? Yes, a recording is going to go out to every single person who attended and registered. So don't worry about that. One more question here. I assume this connects to your POS system for live numbers. So is that true or false?
That does not connect to your point of sale system. As we know, we have many types of programs. We don't have a direct API. A lot of the data that's being fed into our dials and graphs are very unique based on the KPI, key performance indicators that you're looking to track. So although the POS does bring in all of your daily sales, sometimes we're just looking at 1 or 2 pieces. And again, every month that changes. So It does not connect to your software, but again, extracting that data is a very simple download. We also build a lot of extractions as well. When you're downloading, we can pull that from your drive.
Yep. Each of those can be addressed as it comes along. Our interest is to be able to educate you about what ConnectSpace is in partnership with Proven Winners, how that might benefit your independent garden center as you move into the future, where we're leveraging technology, utilizing data, and allowing an immense amount of time saving in order to have everything that you need all in one place. I'll turn it over to Jessica for some final thoughts. And as you see on the screen, directing folks to have more questions, you're more than welcome to field them directly to ourselves and our team or to Proven Winners. Jessica, some final thoughts?
Yeah, I just first and foremost want to say thank you to all of our panelists and to John and Souny for just your gracious gift of time, right? We know it's a busy time of the year. We're so excited as a brand to partner on this project because at our core, we truly believe that helping you to be better at business, to do all of those things, not just plants, but all of those things that make you unique and different are just going to make our industry better. And so the one thing that I want to point out is you can access ConnectSpace through our Connect Plus marketing program. I know my contact information is on the screen, but we have an amazing team of retail solutions managers that would love to chat with you about your individual garden center needs, how ConnectSpace may work best for you. We even have the question, is there enough time moving into spring? Because we all know spring is just 5-6 weeks away, right? And we truly believe that there is time. This is a program that you, as Sarah mentioned, continue to build. And what I love most about it is how gracious all of our partners are in sharing that information. Sarah always mentions, let our ceiling be your floor, and watching the group see what everyone else is doing, learn from each other. I think this is really a cadre of like-minded individuals that support one another, and we're just blessed to be a part of it. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for your time. Thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to continue the conversation and wish you all just a wonderful 2025 spring season. Thank you.